Hi, my name is Tim, and today's devotion comes from Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 to 12. This passage shows us something powerful about the arrival of Jesus, and it gives us two very different reactions to his birth. First, we see the Magi, who were wise men from a distant land, and they respond with humility and worship. And on the other hand, we see Herod, who was the king at the time in that land, and he reacts with fear and hostility. And these responses reveal who Jesus is, who we are without him, and ultimately the incredible hope that we have through the gospel. The Magi's journey tells us something amazing about who Jesus is, that he's not just the king of Israel, but that he's the king of all nations. And their gifts that they bring, gold and frankincense and myrrh, they all point to his kingship. They all point to his divinity and ultimately his mission to save us through sacrifice. And yet we see that this king, he wasn't born in a palace, some grand place, but he actually came into the world in the most humble circumstances, turning the idea of power actually on its head. On the other hand, we see Herod, who saw Jesus as a threat. He clung to his power. He's terrified of just losing control. And if we're honest with ourselves, we are very much like Herod. We want to be the ones in charge. We resist God because surrendering to him feels very costly, like we're giving up everything, like we're giving up so much in our lives. But the gospel tells us actually a very different story, that Jesus didn't come to take from us, but he came to give us what we could never get on our own, which is true forgiveness, an eternal, endless joy, and ultimately peace with God. What's so beautiful is how Jesus saves us, that he's not a king who rules by force or that he terrorizes people with fear. He's a king who gives everything up for us. And his birth points to the cross, where he took the ultimate penalty for our sin and made a way for us to enter into his kingdom. And when we realize that this is the king that we have, the one who loves us so much, he gave everything for us, it frees us then to trust him. You see, his rule over us isn't about loss or giving up, but more so just about how much we gain, the life that we have in him. And so as we look at this passage, we have to ask, how will we respond to Jesus? Will we be like Herod, clinging to control and fearing what we're going to lose? Or will we be like the Magi, willing to lay everything at his feet and worship him? Advent is a great time to reflect on this. It's a chance for us to remember who Jesus is and who we are because of him. And so let's lay down our fears, let's lay down the treasures that we cling to so tightly and worship the true King who gave his life for us.